Welcome to the Spunky Spirit Podcast. I'm your host, psychic medium Cari Mugz. This is where we learn all things spirit, everything from spiritual gifts, awakenings, ghosts, aliens, and starseeds. Nothing is untouchable, but always fun and spunky. I am honored to be on this spiritual journey with you, so make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And welcome to this episode of Spunky Spirit. I am psychic medium Cari Mugz, and today we are going to talk about soul contracts. So, soul contracts are awesome, and I'm going to have my handy dandy notebook because I really want to get all of the information, and with my ADHD brain, I can't remember all the things. So, soul contracts. Lots of people wonder what these are, or wonder. Everybody has a soul contract, and they are created before we come to earth, before we're born. And we come down, there's just a kind of a framework or a blueprint of what's going to happen to us on earth, what we want. Nobody else decides this for us. We decide this ourselves. So we kind of go through and say, this is what we want to learn, or this is what we want to experience. And again, this isn't a test. This isn't like a pass or fail, get it right, you have to be perfect or become perfect. This is just your soul wanting to experience some of these things. Now, this is where I get kind of iffy too, because it doesn't mean that you wanted to experience cancer or you wanted to experience a death of a child. No. I mean, it could be if you wanted to, if that's what your soul wanted, but that's also, I don't want this to create things like, well, I wouldn't have chose this, because there's a lot of times we wouldn't have, and accidents happen all the time, and soul contracts are not set in stone. They're just a framework, they're just a blueprint. And so if you decided, like, all these experiences don't always have to come true or to fruition, and some of the things that happen aren't always on the contract. So know that just because it happens, you didn't cause it. It wasn't supposed to happen. Just things happen and life happens. And it can be, but it is a blueprint or a framework of the things that you wanted to experience or that you wanted to learn on earth. And so you come to earth with this framework or blueprint, and this framework is written on your dominant hand. On the non-dominant hand. It's written on your I don't remember. It's on one of your hands. And then the other hand is what really happens. So you have your framework on one of your palms and what really happens on the other one of your palms. Because it changes, because it's not set in stone. And so they're called soul maps, blueprints, soul contracts. It's just kind of what they have, all different names, and nobody has access to these except for people who you want to. So people who can read Akashic records, people who can read your palms, psychics, mediums, they can have access to these soul contracts if you let them. Now, this is why lots of people like to go to palm readers. And there's a great one named Ashley Adams online. I'll probably put her stuff in the notes at the bottom. She can do them online. She's awesome. There's quite a wait for her a little bit because she's so good at it, but she's so detailed when she gives you the reading. So I'll put her name down below. Now, you create this soul contract before your soul enters your body. So this is before you come to earth. And this is when you sit down with your guides and people who are going to be in your life, or souls who are going to be in your life, and you kind of create this is what we're going to do. This is what I plan to do. And all these people that are going to be part of it are there too, and their souls are there, and because if they're going to be part of your life, they're kind of going to be like, this is the part I want to play, or there's going to be play different parts, right? So you kind of all have this meeting. And this is where you have an outline of your experiences, your relationships for your journey, because Earth is supposed to be an adventure and a journey that you're taking to learn about your own self, not everybody else, but yourself. You're trying to learn about you and learn about different things, because we're always trying to learn. We're always trying to learn new things and experience new things. We are creators. That's what we do. That's what's in our soul. And we want to always be learning, always creating, and always figuring out our own stuff. Now, this is where your guides play in, because your guides, the ones that are guiding you, especially your main guide, and your main guide has to be with you all the time since you're on earth. So it can't be somebody, your main guide cannot be somebody who has been on earth the same time you have. But your main guide has to have been on earth before, because they have to know what it's like to be on earth, so they can guide you and understand and have compassion and empathy for the things you're going through. And they never judge you. But their job is to make sure you stay on your blueprint, not because they want you to, not because the creator wants you to, but because you want to. Your soul, your spirit wants to learn these, have these experiences, and they know you do. But what happens is we come to earth and the veil closes. We can't remember these things. And then our mind kind of does its own thing, and we kind of do our own thing. Our soul remembers. Deep down in our soul, we remember. That's why our soul knows truth. But when we're in the now, and things happen, and who we're born, all the things, when we're born, where we're born, where, all, like everything, our surroundings can kind of create us, like false beliefs and things like that. So they change our value system. They change how we see things, and then we kind of take on our own little thing that we want to do, and our guides try and keep us on the contract. So let's say, for instance, that in the contract you want to go to Target in your life. And when you get here, you're actually starting to go to Walmart. Your guides are trying to get you back to Target. And then so that's what their job is to do. And you have lots, all different kind of guides that love you. You have your ancestors, you have animal guides, you have any type of guide you can honestly think of that you want, you can have around you. You can ask for anybody's help in spirit, and they'll be there. So you have lots of love surrounding you, trying to make it through this journey, especially from people who've already done it before. And in these relationships, so we have the guides, and they keep you on this blueprint or on your framework. And then also too, in this blueprint are the relationships. And this is where it gets kind of crazy, because this is where you start to build karma. Because you have these relationships, and in these relationships, the contracts are other souls that you agree to help, or they agree to help you. So your main guide that's helping you now, you could have helped them as their main guide in a different lifetime, and you could have had different lifetimes with them throughout all of your lifetimes. And the crazy thing about this soul contract is the blueprint for right now that you come through, that comes with you on earth. There's also soul contracts that you carry the karma throughout each lifetime, or you carry out some of the experiences through each lifetime. And some of us like to experience, so some of the relationships that we build in this soul contract are family members, siblings, children, pets, and love relationships, romantic relationships. And some of us like to continue the same romantic relationships throughout our lifetimes, in all different lifetimes. And sometimes we go through a lifetime without them. These are called soulmates. Well, not a soulmate, like a twin flame. So we like to create. And in the past, I thought twin flames were kind of like maybe not so common, but I'm kind of, now that I've learned more about soul contracts, and I've done some Akashic record readings, I feel like they're more common than I was taught. They are kind of a little bit more common, and we do tend to like to experience most of our lifetimes with the same romantic relationships, but sometimes we change out because we want to learn different experiences. So that's kind of something that I'm kind of learning about right now, or I was kind of taught that they were rare, that twin flames were very seldom together, and they were like combustion, and it was like yin and yang. But now, after I'm kind of doing Akashic record readings, and I'm learning more about soul contracts and researching soul contracts, and kind of having downloads from my spiritual team, they're actually kind of more common, because people prefer to be with the same companion throughout most of their lifetimes. But there can be lifetimes that and I just did a podcast on this like 2 weeks ago, and already my mind is kind of changing a little bit because of the Akashic record readings. But so and we can change. We're not stuck with the same person. We can change our mind, even in spirit or on earth even. And so they're kind of like, it's kind of a different, now soulmates are different. We talked about soulmates on the last podcast. they're just people you have soul contracts with, that they just kind of change your life, change the trajectory of your life, and that you talked about and they were going to be part of your life. So that's kind of, relationships can change throughout each lifetime, but in this lifetime, they play a certain part. Kind of like that Saturday Night Live skit. I always talk about how in each skit you play a different part. And in this lifetime, you're playing a certain skit, but you're going to meet back on the other side and decide, well, that was kind of cool. What parts did we play? How did that play into your life? How did that affect you? Things like that. So, and a lot of times too, I'm finding that a lot of people, now that we're going into the fifth dimension, and which is not a different, like, it's just a frequency race. It's not like the earth is shedding its old skin, and it's just everybody starting to raise their frequency, everybody starting to learn truth, and so everybody makes different choices, and karma isn't as prevalent anymore. It's kind of like they're starting to understand, people are starting to understand, they get what they put out there, and so sometimes karma isn't as strong as in other past lifetimes, because people are starting to understand that they have to pay the consequences, not only on this lifetime, but other lifetimes too. So karma is getting to be a little bit not non-existent. It's still there because you still get what you put out there. But as far as in the soul contracts and how you treat other people, if you can build karma in certain relationships. And let's say you were the bad guy in a relationship in one of your lives, and then you decide to come back in a different lifetime and they play the bad guy. So that's why you got to be careful with your enemies, because they played a different part maybe in a different lifetime and you were the bad guy. And so that's why I kind of feel like this with some of my relationships. I feel like if I feel like I'm the victim in this lifetime, I feel like I maybe played the not so great person in the last lifetime. So you just kind of have to watch that and just be kind of aware. So back to the relationships. So contracts are other souls that you agree to help, or we've talked about that. They agree to play certain parts of your life. They agree to play certain parts in your life. So some of them can choose to be the bad guy in your life just to help you grow, or just to help you make choices or to experience things. Not always. That's why sometimes we don't always know what's good or bad. We label these things good or bad, but sometimes we see, like, I labeled my divorce as pretty bad, but now down the road it was the best thing. And that doesn't mean I hate my ex. He taught me a ton, and I'm way stronger than I ever was, and I'm the person I want to be now. But that doesn't make him a bad person. So anyways, pets are also part of these soul contracts. I know for a fact that, so it's so crazy because in some religions, like let's say the pagan religion or a witch's kind of coven thing, that they call their pets, sometimes they call them familiars, because they're attached to them, and they are part of them. And I've seen in Akashic records that sometimes these pets come down as guides. And so a lot of times some of our pets are very, very close to us and very, very connected to us, because they're part of our soul contract. And I know of 2 cats that I've had that were part of my soul contract on this earth time. And one was when I was younger, and the other one was during my divorce after my dad passed. I know that he was sent to me. His name was Kovu. He was a Maine Coon, and he was beautiful. And I know he lived for 18 years, and I know he was sent to me as a guide. So, because he helped me with my anxiety, he helped me with all my stress. So they do have a strong connection to us. Now, what I do want you to know is you can create this blueprint or this soul contract, but it's just a framework. It's just an outline of what could happen. It's just kind of like, this is kind of where I want things to go, and stay in that direction, but it doesn't always stay that way. So if you come to Earth and you forget about some of the contract, as much as your guides want to help you stay on that track, sometimes you're not. Sometimes you get completely off track. And so just know that, soul contracts can be broken. You can break them on this earth. That's why lots of people come to Earth and they're like, I want to cut this cord. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to stop this. And that's totally fine too. And lots of times too, people can change their mind on how they want to pass or how they experience different things. And so soul contracts are just kind of a general idea. It's like a house, like you're building a house. You're a contractor and you're building a house and you have the framework done or you have the blueprint done. And then as you're building it, you kind of change your mind and you move this wall and you decide you want this in the kitchen. And then there's times that you totally can screw up the house and do it the wrong way. But there's no wrong way. You can never be failure. I mean, you can feel like you fail at certain things, but no life is ever considered a failure. So, and as we said, all of this stuff leads to karma bonds because how you treat people, you get that back tenfold. So what goes out there, karma is not a revenge law. It's not something that happens because spirits on the other side want revenge or anything like that. Karma is a universal law. You get what you put out there. So if you put good things out there, that's what you'll get back. If you help people, it's just a universal law. It is what it is. And so somewhere down the line, you have to pay the consequences for your actions, whether they be good or bad. And it's whether in this lifetime or others. But people are starting to recognize that. So their karma isn't as strong. Their karma bonds aren't as strong as I know. I don't know because I didn't read Akashic Records 15 years ago. Just from what I've heard from other people who have, say that the karma bonds are kind of like not as strong. But that doesn't mean that's for everybody because you could have created you could have put something out there that was not great or great and have it come back to you. So, let's see. Romantic partners can change, but most people, they can change throughout different lifetimes, but most people a lot of people like to stay with the same one, and that's what we call our twin flame or some of our soulmates. We like to stay in the same soul families. And soul families are the same thing too. They're people or spirits that you like to come down to earth and be with most of the time. It's like a group of people. Sometimes you switch out and like my main guide is probably part of my soul family, but right now on this lifetime, they're not with me, but maybe in lots of other lifetimes they were. So it's like different characters play different parts throughout different lifetimes. And so, but this soul contract right now that I want to experience these things, my main guide is trying to make sure I do that. But also my main guide is also making sure, because I have another, that I'm playing other parts. So like it gets a little difficult, but like in this soul contract that I have for this earth, I pulled in some karma from I knew I had to repay some karma or I had to have some karma repayment in this lifetime. So I put it into my soul contract. And that's another reason why my guides or my ancestors are trying to lead me to stay on the soul contract. So I don't have any loose ends and we can kind of tie up this karma stuff. Okay. Now, again, nobody has access to your soul contract. These soul contracts are in the Akashic Records. So nobody has access to these except for without your permission, psychics and mediums, palm readers, and Akashic Record readers. And I can't just tap into anybody's Akashic Records. It's not kosher. There's no integrity in that. There are some people who try to get into people's personal space there's a lot of integrity when it comes to psychics and Akashic Record readers. You really have to, like, a lot of times if you're empathic, you can be next to a person and read their energy. And I really try hard not to. It takes a long time, but you have to. It's kind of invasion of privacy. And even during readings, I can only, like, if someone is coming in and asking about a relationship, I can't tune into the other person that's also in the relationship very well because it's integrity reasons. It's invasion of privacy. So nobody has access to your stuff unless you allow them to. And if people try and get into it without your permission, then they'll have to pay the karma for that later. They'll have to pay for that in a different kind of consequences, but usually it's blocked. Usually it's the only time it's not really blocked is if like there's a psychic right next to you and they can read your energy, but you can kind of feel if they are. So just kind of be aware of that. So that's kind of what soul contracts are in a nutshell. There's very much, soul contracts, what you decide, what you want to experience on this lifetime, but other lifetimes will play into it because you have soul families that are part of your life, twin flames, soul flames, karma. And that's why your soul, because your soul, we've talked about this too. We talked about this last week, I think, when we talked about higher self. Your soul knows all of this and all the different lifetimes, but your spirit in this lifetime doesn't know about all the other soul contracts or all the other. So your spirit right now is just focused on now. That's why the most spiritual thing you can do right now is it's great to learn about all of this soul contract stuff, and it's great to learn about all your past lives, but honestly, the most spiritual thing you can do right now is to live in the now. Be in this time, in this, and do the best you can in right now, because your spirit is focused on the now, trying to stay on the soul contract you wrote for this lifetime. And the only way you can hear spirit and your guides and that guide you is if you're living in the now. If you're in the past and have anxiety and worry about what you did in the past, or you have anxiety or worry about what's coming up in the future, your guides and your ancestors can't talk to you, and kind of you can't hear them as well because you're stressed and you have all this anxiety. But if you're in the now and living in the now and enjoying the moment and being in the moment, your guides can talk to you and direct you, and you can feel in your soul where you need to be. You don't need a psychic or a Akashic record reader or a palm reader or anybody to tell you you're not on the right journey. You know it. If things are hard, if you feel like you're constantly paddling upstream and you feel like there's a difference between, like, if you're going for goals and it's a lot of work, then that's just how it is. That's how life is. If you want something and you have to work for it, like finding your keys. I always say, if you lost your keys and you have to look for the keys, right? You can't just sit down and have them drop in your lap. That's not how it works. But you have to actively work in finding your keys. But if you know you're going in the right direction, because spirit will guide you to your keys and you'll get to the keys and you can feel the keys coming closer and closer. But if those keys aren't meant for you, then it'll feel like the spirit you'll feel lost and alone. It's hard to explain, but that's why you just need to be tapped into the now. Because the thing is, I'm not going to say that life's easy. So I don't want to sit and say you're on the right path and you're on the right journey. If your life is super easy and it's like you're streaming, things fall into place, that is an indication that you're on the right path. It is. But also too, sometimes when you fight and go for goals and manifest things, you have to work for it. It's not like you can just sit down, but things kind of should just work in your direction, right? So if you go one way and that doesn't work and then you try another way, you still got to keep trying. You got to still keep looking for the keys. But you also need to know that if you're looking for the keys for lots and lots of years, then maybe you should just buy a different car. Does that make sense? Kind of. It's not saying I want you to give up on your goals and dreams, but sometimes you have to know when to quit too. And the best way to know all this stuff is to tap into your own self, listen to your own intuition. I find I'm at my best, not when I'm listening to all the influencers on social media, all the other mediums on social media, all of everybody else on social media and everybody around me. I can ask for their opinions and I can look at them and say, do I? But what I'm finding is I'll try and do what they're doing and it just doesn't work for me. What works for me is what works for me. And I need to slow down, tap into my intuition and know what works for me. So a whole bunch of protein might not work for me, but calorie deficit might work for me. So, and also too, as far as my mediumship business goes, the way other mediums do it might not work for me. I know it doesn't work for me, but I do need to tap into my intuition and see how it works for me. So tapping into and when you tap into your own intuition and you tap into your own soul, then your guides can direct you and you can feel your own contract and you can know, there's just sometimes when you just feel at one and at peace, that means you're on the right track. You're on the right journey. And sometimes I feel like deja vu is telling you you're on your soul, you're on your contract, you're right on spot with your soul contract. So I really hope that helps you guys. I know it can be so confusing and spiritual things can be so confusing. I'm still kind of confused on the whole twin flame thing because I get taught one thing and then I get then I do Akashic record readings and I get taught, like, spirit teaches me another thing. It's like they are, so just kind of know, just go with your gut. Your soul knows truth. And this is where you get blown off if, when you listen to other people and what they say, if it doesn't sound right for you, it doesn't resonate with you, it's not for you. It means something different. You might be one of those spirits that doesn't like a twin flame. And you want to be alone, and you're a soul that's like independent of a twin flame. And so that's what might work for you, but you also might be a soul that loves a twin flame, and it's an ancient sacred thing, and you love it, and you miss, and you feel like there's something missing from your life because there's no twin flame on this lifetime with you. So just depends. Everybody's so different, life is so different, and spirituality is not just wrapped up in a neat tiny box that tells you exactly how it is. It's always changing, always different. So I hope that really helps you guys. I love you so much, and I know, the thing is life can be hard, and earth is hard, but it can be also beautiful and joyful, and we have to know the good, we have to know the bad to know the good. And you are just really, honestly, I promise you 100% you're right where you need to be. And I know it may seem hard, and it may seem like you don't feel like you are, but you are. And your guides and ancestors are with you. They love you so much, and they're guiding you and trying to keep you on this crazy blueprint that you created. And sometimes it's us that we just think things should be a certain way, or think that they need to happen a certain way, or we try to manifest them a certain way. And in reality, sometimes when we just sit back and listen to our intuition, it just happens the way it doesn't happen the way we thought it would, but it happens, and that's okay. And I have lots of instances in that. Lots of times I've tried to manifest something, and I've worked my butt off for it. And I've worked and worked and worked, and finally I'm just like, you know what? I'm done. This is so hard, and I've done all I can. And then I start to rest, and then it happens. Just happens out of the blue. It's like I look and look and look for the keys, can't find them, and so I sit down, take a rest, and then they plop into my lap. It's just the craziest thing. And that's why don't ever think, if you're on the wrong path, or you're on the, sometimes we can take detours, but really your soul will feel it. You'll feel it if you're not on the right path. You will feel it more than any psychic, medium, or Akashic record reader will. So I hope that helps, and give yourself some grace, and know that we're just all here. We're all just humans trying to help other humans. And it's hard to sometimes feel we're all connected when there's other forces trying to separate us. So I love you guys so much, and I hope this helped you. I hope this helps with soul contracts. If there's a topic you want me to talk about, please DM me or email me at cari@carimugz.com, CARIMUGZ. It's down in the show notes. I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys next time.